Hi there, this is Liz Williams coming in from Williams Accounting. So, hi everybody. We are going to be offering some online training, and we're starting with some free informational videos to help get you up to speed with what is required for new hire paperwork. So, I'm going to work on sharing my screen so you can see what I see. And okay, so here is our website, first of all. So williamsaccounting.com. And if you need to reach us, of course, we're available to you by phone, by email, whatever you prefer, or you can fill out the website inquiry and then it will go straight to our email box. And I, check those several times a day. All right, so there's that. And then we're going to share the next screen with you. See about this new share. Okay. Great. So we're going to share this one with you here. So when you start with new hires, I just wanted to clarify that you're going to be required to have some paperwork on file, not just for your own records, but also to get the proper information to your bookkeeper, to your accounting firm that processes the payroll. So the first thing that the bookkeeper, the accounting firm will scream about is, hey, I need a W-4. So this is the W-4. Usually in the past, we have given you a link to a blank form, but we have noticed several W-4s that are not completed, and then we have to kick it back to you. And I just thought, why don't I just start with a series of videos to help our clients and then to help our firm as well with, beginning with the end in mind, and then we're having exactly what we need so that way you can run your business smoothly, and that way we're getting our job done efficiently as well. So, some of these forms, it's very nice because they're fillable. So I'm just going to give you an example of how we need it filled out. So first name and middle initial if they have one, some don't, and that's fine. Last name, and then their social security number. I prefer to have dashes here. And then the home address, put the street number. If there's an apartment number or a suite number, put that. City, state, and zip code. Here they would need to click if they're single or married. Some of my clients, or myself for that matter, we like to use the married but withhold at a higher single rate. So that helps with taking more taxes out, so that way we're not surprised when we're doing our tax return at the end of the year, right? Apologize it. City and state needs to go down here. If your last name differs from what is shown on your social security card, check here. We rarely get these because we want our paperwork to match exactly what's on there. We have maybe just a few clients that maybe have gone through, a name change, or they've gotten married. So what's really important is making sure that your paperwork matches your social security card, and especially your banking information. We have had clients that have changed their last name, and it affects their direct deposit because they'll change it with everyone, including our firm, but they'll forget to go to the bank and change it there as well. So that's something to keep in mind. So a lot of our clients that have employees, they'll claim 1 or 0, but we're here to tell you that if you have proper tax planning, and if you're self-employed and you're helping out someone just as an employee for a few months a year, you may consider having, we have employees that can do 26 allowances or 30 allowances or 1 or 0. I mean, it just really depends. So make sure that you consult with your CPA or your tax preparer. And if you have employees that don't really have access to those services, we've always told our clients that if you'd like to have the employee give us a call, we could help walk them through the process, the instructions on the W-4, and then this worksheet, we're going over it with them, clarifying how it needs to be filled out, but they ultimately need to make that decision. So there's charts, there's tables, there's, worksheets, and all of this worksheet helps them achieve what numbers are going to go here in 5, 6, and then, or 7. So box 7 is for those that are not required to pay withholding tax. So for example, if it's a minor, or if they're, or if there are some other factors where they don't want withholding taken out, or they're not supposed to have that, then, like for example, if you have a child that's of legal working age but yet under the age of 18, like still going to college, or still, being claimed on a tax return of a parent, then it doesn't really make sense to, have them claiming 1 or 0 where they're going to receive a refund, at the end of that tax year. Might as well just claim exempt and save everybody time and hassle. So right here is where they sign employee signature and date. And then right here, where a lot of our employers seem to forget, and I have to kick it back and remind them, is be sure to fill this out with the employer's name, the address, city, state, zip code, all that fun stuff. And then the first date that you hired them, that's also pretty important. And then the EIN number of the employer. I remember how many digits. Hopefully I got that right. Okay. And so we've gone over the worksheet, and this is for the employee to keep and for them to work on it. That's why it says keep for your records. So you don't have to keep all that in file. You just need the main sheet on file. If they do return it to you, that's fine. Just make sure they have a copy of what they've done. So that way, if they come back and say, wait a minute, you've taken too much out of my check, you can show them their worksheet. You can show them the W-4 that they completed, and you can encourage them, if they would like to fill another one out, to change their withholding, that there's no problem, that they can do that, right? Okay, so also we have clients that are Spanish speaking only. So we want to clarify, if you can see that screen, we want to clarify that we also have W-4 forms for that as well. The important thing to keep in mind is if you have a Spanish-speaking only employee, you have to be sure that you understand what they're filling out. So that way, if you are the payroll firm, that you have a translator in-house, which we do, or that there's some way to communicate the proper information to the payroll firm, so that way they are getting the job done properly, they're processing payroll properly. So I'm scrolling down on the Spanish W-4 just to show you everything's in Spanish. The tables, they have the same numbers, but it's very helpful if someone has difficulty, or if English might be their second language. It's nice having this form available should they need it. Okay. I have run into employers filling out this form for the employee, and I do not recommend that, just for the sake of, we want to know that the employee is responsible, not the employer, for filling out the W-4 form. Okay, so let's go to the next screen. All right, so we have the I-9. That's the next form that's federally required for each employee to complete. So we have an I-9 in English, we have an I-9 in Spanish. So we're just going to cover the one in English for simplicity's sake. And so here is a form that cannot be fillable. It cannot be filled out. We have run into functionality issues with being able to fill out a fillable PDF and then, printing it. And when we print it, sometimes they come up blank, which is very frustrating after you spend, I don't know, 30 minutes filling a form out. So we have found through our experiences to use a PDF filler program or just to print the form out. So that way we have control of the information that's filled out. So they would write last name, first name, middle initial, address, apartment number if there is one, and so forth. The important part is birth date. I need to see month, day, and year in that order. We prefer 4 numbers for the year, not just 2. So 2018 rather than 18. Social Security number, employee's email address, employee's telephone number. I really like having both for the sake of offering them pay stubs online through View My Paycheck, or if I need to get a W-2 to them, I can call them. And, you know, if sometimes we will receive a W-2 back in the mail, and we want to make sure that we have the correct mailing address, because we are required to prove that we have attempted to get the W-2 to that employee. And sometimes they move and go out of state, or, you know, just change addresses, or, you know, sometimes, you know, they'll pass away. So we have to keep record that we proved, or we have to keep record to prove that we have mailed it. So on that note, if you mail a W-2 at the end of the year to an employee and it comes back to you, you actually need to keep that W-2 in its envelope showing that it has come back to you. And that's considered as a complete file if you are ever audited, or if the employee contacts you at a later date, or if the employee wants to file a complaint that you never sent it. Well, that canceled envelope is your proof that you have in fact mailed it. So, okay, so and then here on the I-9, they are going to check either that they're a citizen of the US or any of the other options. So if they are a lawful permanent resident, they should have an alien registration number issued by USCIS. There are some other options as well. So basically they are signing, stating their citizenship status, which is very important that they are signing and not you. If you are a translator, in addition to being their employer, you would need to sign here that you helped translate that. Or let's say if you are a Spanish-speaking only company and your office manager is Spanish and English-speaking, or just Spanish-speaking, then right here, the preparer or the translator, that is where she or he is required to sign, saying, yes, I helped this person fill out this form. So in case of audit, we need to know who filled it out, who signed it, you know, who verified it, all of that. If a translator was not used, you're going to check, I did not use a preparer or translator, and you're going to complete the next page. So this next page is pretty fun. Hunting down paperwork for, you know, employees. So I always say, make sure that you have complete paperwork before you're issuing first paycheck and before you're even processing their payroll, people. So they can give you something from list A, or it says or right here, or it can be B and C. So I'm going to scroll down to the 3rd page here. And here is literally a punch list of what is acceptable and what is not for proof of identification. And the documents have to be current. They cannot be expired, right? So we've run into maybe a client that has had an expired driver's license. Well, we need to have something current, or we need something else besides that driver's license if it's expired. And there are several options here in list B. For example, even a voter's registration card, school ID card, you know, and so forth. So, and, you know, if they are under 18 and they don't have the proper, you know, state ID cards, this form gets very flexible and saying, well, let me see your school records. Let me see your report card. Let me see, you know, some doctor records or hospital records that have your name on it. So it's, you know, there is some flexibility, but at the same time, they want transparency that, you know, you have a real person here working for you. You don't have some paperwork that's been made up, right? That you as the employer and or your preparer or translator are verifying this. So this is what US labor requirements require. So I print this out. I have it in an office folder, and I encourage my customers and our payroll clients to print this out. So that way they have it in their SOP. Some folks have heard me call it. So from my Boeing and military work days, right? So standard operating procedure, this should be added to it, right? So it's a list, and as it changes, you know, as the document number and revision change, then we always offer newer documents for our clients as they come to us. So we check it several times a month, just to make sure that we have the most current form. Like this form expires 8/31/19. So we're going to be checking in January, we're going to be checking in March, and then lastly we'll be checking in June, and they should have the form ready by then. So for me, if I'm helping out another tax firm, or you know, they just need some part-time work and they say, hey, we're not going to contract worker you, we really want you to be an employee. And I'm like, okay, great. So I fill out their information and I give them my passport. And so if I give them my passport, that is one of the items listed on A as US passport. That's it. You can pass go. You don't have to give them your social security card, none of that. But some employers, they just don't know. And so they say, well, I want your social security card also. So either you're giving them a copy of the instructions that they should already have, or you are just giving them a copy of your social security card. And when I mean giving them a copy, you're showing it to them so that way they can verify that that number is correct. But I want you to be very careful with sensitive information that is given to you. It needs to be locked in your office file cabinet, and or if you feel like you need a PDF copy of it, it needs to be in a secured virtual environment like a portal. Okay, so filling out all the information on that document. Page 2, they're going to want the employee's name up top as well. The date of hire, that's pretty important to fill out their first hire date. I'm always chasing our payroll clients for that. So I don't like to withhold payroll, but I would like to have the correct information when I'm starting it. So we're starting to, you know, crack down on all of our clients because we want everyone to be compliant. That's very important. So I require that all new hire paperwork is completed before we even start payroll. So, and if payroll's late, it's late, but at least the new hire paperwork is right. And our mantra, if you will, is do it once, do it right, and don't look back. So here, after the hire date, we have signature of employer or representative. So if you have an office manager, that's fine, just so long as the office manager has the permission of the company officer, then that's great. So this is where they sign, they date it, they write their title, you know, boss lady. And then number 3 is re-verification and rehires. So to be completed and signed by employer or representative. So if that's a requirement, go ahead and fill it out. And then here at the bottom, the employer is signing that everything is correct. And that is in relation to if anything is filled out in section number 3, then you're signing again below. Okay, so there's that. And then also I-9 is available in Spanish. And let's make sure you can see this next slide here. Yes, you can, good. Okay, so here we have you know, the website for Idaho Department of Labor, where you can report new hires online, right? So you can do it online, or you can use a new hire reporting form, right? So I have, for example, you know, State of Washington new hire form. You know, State of Idaho also has something similar. You basically follow their instructions. They will tell you that you can fax it in, that you can call it in Washington State. You can call it in, you can fax it in, you can paper mail it in. You know, there are many options for that. But what I want you to keep track of is however you submit this information, you need to track that you sent it, because sometimes they might come back and say that they've never received it in the mail, and you want to be able to say, no, sorry, I sent it, and here's my, my registered mail receipt from the United States Post Office. And that way you'll get credit for submitting the report, whether they received it or not. So that's very important, because there are fines involved if you do not submit on time. So this form is pretty self-explanatory, where you're filling out employer name and address and the EIN number, the employee last name, first name, middle name, address, city, state, zip code, employee social security number, birth date, and hire date. And so this next box down here is if you had a second new hire. And so if there's more than 2, then I'm doing duplicate forms. And also I want to add that if you have your payroll files in QuickBooks, that you have an option, especially with QuickBooks Desktop, where you have a very clear new hire form that you can print out on a monthly basis or every time you have a new hire. So just like you're maybe filing a payroll report through QuickBooks, or a payroll return, I should say, or if you are filing a new hire report, you have to put in the date range, the date that that person was hired. So for larger employers that maybe have 5 or more employees, I'm doing new hire reports every month. So whether there's 1 new hire or if there's 20, it will all be captured monthly where I will report it. And then if there's nothing to report that month, then I just don't report it. So that is the new hire process. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. And if you have any further questions, we always invite for you to go to our website, and I'll bring that back up. So it's williamsaccounting.com. Here it is right here. And feel free to just drop us a line and say hello, or if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Best way to reach us is email so we can track it. So info@williamsaccounting.com. And we look forward to helping you with your business needs and offering online tutorials as we feel we would like to share information with you. Okay, thank you very much and have a good day.